What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Built on Blue Collar. I am here with my new good friend, Zach Mack, who we've been in communication with online for a while. This is our first time meeting, so we've been trying to nail down a podcast, get you out here to the studio and talk career with you, and it's been a lot of back and forth, so I'm sorry about all that, but glad we got you here finally.
Man, happy to be here finally. It has been a little bit of back and forth, but everybody's busy and glad we can make it happen.
Yeah, it's a busy industry. So I know you travel a lot, I travel a lot, so nailing down those dates is kind of tough, but glad you're here. And then, yeah, man, we'll just dive right into it. The whole point of this podcast, I wanted to get a little bit of Zach's opinion on the construction industry. Like we've talked about in the past, you're a little bit new to the industry.
Yep.
And so wanted to kind of dive into your perspective on what you've seen so far, but take us back through like when you graduated college and then what your career was before you came into construction.
Absolutely. So I'll throw back just for a second. Like through high school, did kind of blue-collar trades, was electrician, wiring houses, helping a master electrician out, mowing lawns, all the typical basic high school kid can throw it in the back of a truck and do work kind of thing.
Yeah.
So enjoyed all that. Went to school, played football, and graduated right in the middle of COVID. Didn't know what I was going to do. Jumped into banking. Hated banking. Counting other people's money all day is not for me. And so from there, I did a little bit of work for another guy, and he owned a software/hardware computer store in East Texas, and he's lost his manager of like 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "Hey, will you come take his job?" And I was like, yeah, it was more money at the time. I was like, yeah, get me out of the bank. And then it just ended up being the same thing, sitting in an office all day. Wasn't for me. From there, had a buddy call me about a sales job for his family's company in Alabama. So I told him I am absolutely not moving to Alabama. We had a good conversation on a Saturday morning breakfast, and 2 weeks later I was loading my car and on the way to Alabama.
He convinced you.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like, hey, man, I will give you this. Slides over a check.
Basically, it was like, this is the money that you will make. This is the money that you can make if you do good. And I was like, well, let's do it. I'm single, whatever, no kids. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
So I did that. Very toxic work culture. Hated it. Alabama, state's great. Football's great there. Not like Texas football by any means, but
right.
it's great. But just wasn't a fit for me at the end of the day. And so moved back here. He actually left the company at the same time, and so we both moved back. We moved to north of Dallas in Frisco, and he started doing some software stuff, and he has a very successful software company now. And I did a little bit of software sales for him. I'm not good at software sales by any means. And then I did a little bit of corporate sales for another company. And then a good buddy of mine from college, he called me one weekend and said, hey, we're going to go do like a little hog hunt. Let's, you want to come down and hang out with us? I was like, yeah, I haven't done this in 3-4 years since I moved. Let's do it. So granted, I got there and it was the VP of the company I work for now. And then my buddy's dad and my buddy works for the company that I work for as well. Yeah. And we were all sitting there chatting, just hanging out, having a good time. And he looks at me and goes, why don't you work for us? And I said, that is a great question. Why do I not work for y'all? And bang, bang, bow, everything worked out, and here I am. So
that's awesome, man.
It's been a blessing. It really has. They treat me well. They've kind of let me have free reign. There's nobody been in my position of going out and searching for business and meeting new clients and fostering relationships we already have and what are they? Events and clay shoots, golf tournaments, just having our name out there kind of as a PR. Business development is my role.
Cool. Yeah.
And so it's been kind of fun learning how to do that without anybody teaching you necessarily, but giving you... It's
very similar to sales, right?
Yeah, they give you I have 2 borders and you just stay in the middle of it and go. Yeah. So it's been a very good blessing. I enjoyed it so far. Nothing but great things to say about the industry, all that. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, so, I mean, you did a few like minor blue collar trades, you know, kind of coming out of college and stuff like that. And you said, where'd you graduate?
So I graduated high school. I went to Gatesville High School. Okay. And then I went to Stephen F. Austin State University in East Texas, and I graduated from there in 2020.
Cool, that's right. Okay, sweet. Yeah, so it sounds pretty typical as far as like most people that like dive into the trades.
Exactly.
What aside from just like obviously having a fun hog hunt and getting to know VPs of the company before you get in there, What really drew you to like the job that and obviously, to be honest, coming into the blue collar trades and going right into business development is pretty nice.
I'm very blessed, and me and our general superintendent have had this conversation. And I looked at him we were riding around the truck on a job one day, and I looked at him. I said, I don't think y'all understand how much I understand how blessed I am to just kind of jump into this role, and y'all let me learn as I go and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, because a lot of guys in your are 40, 50 years old, and they were in the field for 20 years and do everything. And now, granted, it's not a disadvantage, but it is a disadvantage because I don't have all that knowledge yet.
Yeah.
I don't have, and I won't get it as fast as some of the other guys. But a lot of it is relationship based.
Yep.
And just being able to not try to be the smartest guy in the room all the time.
Exactly.
And learn from what other guys are saying, and just sit back in meetings and be like, what knowledge does this guy have? What questions can I ask him after this? Can I go sit in a truck with him one day and just soak in knowledge that he has and just learn from his experiences without having to do it myself, and kind of fast track myself along those lines to be able to sell this better and to be able to do what I do better and along those lines. And everybody in the company has been very open to that. And I'll call and say, hey, let me come sit in the truck with you. And they're like, okay. I'm
Why?
like, I'll buy lunch. Just let's go. And they're like, yeah, let's go. So
I just want to learn, okay?
I
just let me learn.
I just want to learn. That's all I want to do is sit in the truck and learn and ask questions. And even if it's dumb questions, look at me like I'm an idiot, but I'll take it. I don't care at this point. So it's just been
that's awesome. I think that's like the best way to look at it too, right? Like, especially like there are going to be more opportunities in the blue collar trades like yours, where I think these companies are recognizing the value that a lot of young folks have to be able to like go out and just like meet people and like strike up conversations. And like a lot of those guys in the old school business development, it's immediately right into sales. Like, hey, how can I give you this? How can I sell you this? Hey, how can we be of service to you? And like the new way of business development, and I think most of us are just recognizing this because we've watched it, is the fact of like I'm not selling a service. I'm not selling a product to you. What I'm really doing is I'm just learning as much as I can about you.
Yes.
And then like if I can fit into that, you'll ask me, right? Like it'll
100%.
naturally come. You know, I'm not here to like make a dime off of you. I'm just here to learn about you. And the business development role is so awesome because if you've got that personality to go meet people and really like genuinely be curious about what they do, people open up the world to you. And it's pretty cool. So, like, dude, what a humble way to go about it.
Absolutely.
Man, I love it.
There's plenty of lunches that I've had that are supposed to be 30, 45-minute lunches that have turned into 2.5 hours. And then 2 weeks later, they'll say, hey, I actually just got a job that I want you to bid, so here it is.
Sick.
So it's just like, it's stuff like that of just being able to converse with people and build a relationship that's not necessarily, I just want your money.
Exactly. It's genuine.
Yeah, you do business with people you're friends with.
Yep.
And so going and making friends in the industry and being available to people, and not even if it's something that doesn't benefit you directly. There's plenty of times that I'll tag somebody on LinkedIn and say, hey, I saw this guy's looking for machines or this or inspection or things along those lines. And they're like, oh, thanks, man. I'll hit him up for sure. And, I mean, I've had a guy close a deal that's made his month off something like that. And so it's just that stuff at the same time is
that's always fun.
Everybody it'll come back to you eventually. That's how I look at it. So it's just the relationship base of everything is just 110% all it's about.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love that. That's cool. So how long have you been at the company that you're at now?
Today is 11 months. Right under 11 months.
11 months?
Yeah.
So almost there for a year.
Almost a year, yeah.
That's awesome.
We hope we make it. Might get fired. We don't know. We'll see.
After this podcast, cut him.
It's
cut
all
him.
in the world.
We're gonna get pretty bad here in a minute. No, just kidding. No, that's cool. Okay, so 1 year at where you're at now. That's awesome. What are some of, I guess, excuse me, I'm gonna pop this open. I've got my First Form energy drink here. Plug for those guys, and I know that's gonna make some sound. What is some of, I guess, the best lessons that you've learned in your first year working where you're at now?
So it really is you don't have to go ask everybody for business right away. It's the going and seeing people at different events and seeing people at this and seeing how this operates and stuff. And sometimes you're not a good fit for that person or that company, or that person just isn't who you want to jive with or something along those lines. And you just kind of not weed it out, but you don't focus on it as much as to where whenever I first came in, I focused on everybody 110% all the time. And it was like, there's no true value at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah.
And so just trying to refrain from that and looking at the bigger picture of, this is something I need to attack here that's an actual opportunity for us in the company and will be good, as well as a good partnership between us too as well. Kind of doing that because in my previous roles in sales, I've attacked everything and just full blown, and that's how you did it.
Yeah.
And so just learning who to attack at what times and how that works and when to talk business, when to not talk business, when to shoot the shit, when to invite somebody to lunch, when to bring breakfast to their office, when to just things along those lines there's an algorithm to it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a perfect one ever. But figuring it out over time has been one of the biggest struggles ever.
Yeah, man. I think every company and every person is different, right?
Yes.
So like that relationship building is going to be different for every single person.
100%.
And honestly, like sometimes you plant a seed, 5 years ago, and then it starts to sprout. Like it takes a while.
Yes.
Sometimes for you to be like, hey, by the way, this is what we do. I want to stay in contact and see how we can help you. You lose it for years, and then finally, it might come back, or it might never.
And it is what it is at that point, and you just move on to the next.
Yep.
It's not I don't hang my hat on anything. It's just one of those things where I'll chase it until it doesn't need to be chased, and then once it does need to be chased, it'll either happen or it won't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That's
so
cool.
it's just moving on from that and working it out that way.
Yeah, and like you said too, right? It's like the more people that I can genuinely just go out and meet and become friends. Like it doesn't even matter if we become business partners. No. Just the fact of like, hey, like I'm now considering you like a friend, man. Like we've had enough interaction where I'm pretty close to you. Like I never care if business happens, but if it does, that's great.
So
two birds.
Yeah, there's a guy in West Texas right now. His name is Wes Johnson. He's with Equipment Share. He's actually the membership director of like an association of pipeliners out there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Me and him became
Maybe we'll
friends.
get him on the podcast.
He would be. This room is not big enough. You need like. He's just like all over the place all the time. He's awesome. A great guy though. Great guy.
Yeah.
And he, I'll shameless plug him. He's with Equipment Share. He's great. If you ever need equipment, hit up Wes.
Yeah.
But he is the just epitome of. He'll go on a job site trying to sell equipment, and he'll see a trencher, and he'll go, hey, you need to talk to my buddy Zach.
Yeah.
And he has a stack of my cards,
That's
and he'll
awesome.
just hand them to him. And somebody might call me, they might not. It's just one of those things, but it's just, you never know when something like that's going to happen just through a relationship you build.
Honestly. Yeah. That's awesome. So diving into what you guys actually do, go into the company, and then like what you guys specialize in, where you guys operate out of, and like your geographic like reach.
Yeah, absolutely. So HL Chapman is the company I work for. We do trenching, milling, and heavy rock excavation. We dig ditches.
Yeah.
For pipes, we've done a lot of environmental work, renewable work, pipeline, civil, utilities, all of it. We have an office in Leander, which is just north of Austin, Texas, an office in Bulverde, north of San Antonio, Texas, and then an office in Odessa, which is the Permian Basin, oil, Mecca, boom, stuff out there. So operate all that. We have about 130 trenchers at all times. And so we're the largest trenching company. I've heard the world. I know North America, we're the largest, but I think it's the world as well. There's some companies over in Saudi Arabia or Australia, I think.
That might be a little bit bigger.
Might be a little bit bigger.
Who's to say?
Yeah, I don't know. But in the good state of the United States, it's us. So
that's cool.
It's very cool. I've walked into a lot of conversations, and I'm like, hey, I'm with HL Chapman. They're like, all right, we don't need to hear anything else. It's like, cool. That works. That makes
glad
my
you
job.
know. Glad you know.
I'm glad it makes it easy here.
You're kidding.
So yeah, heavy rock excavation. A lot of those, you look down I-35 and everything west of that is pretty rocky.
Yeah.
And so it's easier than excavating, because if you're going to beat up an excavator all day long trying to dig a ditch, you just cost yourself money and everything.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than blasting, because blasting gets expensive and it's dangerous, and some areas don't allow blasting. And
honestly, the trenchers just look better.
They're cool.
Dude, they're awesome. It's like you're taking a big old chainsaw and you're just cutting through earth with it.
Absolutely.
Like, what's not to like? You know?
It's the coolest thing in the world, and I'm in awe every time I step onto a job site of just what they can do and what they're doing. So
sometimes I'll pass over I'm sure you've seen it too. You guys probably have one of these, but like some of those massive ones that go on for, I don't know, 200 feet or whatnot.
So the one picture that circulates the most is our trencher.
Is it?
Yeah. So it was actually down in Florida. I think I can talk about this. We'll figure out later if not. But
yeah. Redacted.
But so we cut 57 foot deep. I forget how wide, maybe 4 or 5 foot wide, something like that. Down the Everglades of Florida.
Yo.
And they were pumping a slurry mixture into it to create a barrier between the Everglades and like houses and everything like that, so it stopped flooding. And so it's renewable work, but 57 foot deep is pretty amazing. I think it's pretty awesome. The world record for the deepest ever trenched.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they're so long, but you have to have them at an angle.
Yes.
Right? So you can't have them straight up and down.
No, because you'll just get stuck and it's a horrible mess. But yeah, so it's 57 foot deep. I don't know how long that boom was on that one, but it was a pretty significant feat, and we're very proud of it.
Are you guys done with that project?
Yes, we did. So I went down to the ribbon cutting. You can check out my LinkedIn on it. We went to the ribbon cutting and everything like that.
I would love to, because I'm from Florida.
And are you really? I didn't know that.
Dude, working through the Everglades has to be some pretty cool like logistics.
It was. I went down there and helped them take it apart whenever we were done, and then I went back down for the ribbon cutting of the project.
Nice.
Alligator Ron Bergeron was there, and everybody. It was cool. It was very, very cool. But they were very proud and very happy.
No Tiger King.
No Tiger King.
Darn.
But so it was super cool. I think we have a couple more projects, but I don't think there's anything quite that deep going on down there. But I could be wrong. I haven't dove into that side of everything.
I mean, you guys are here in Texas, but like it seems like your operations could be anywhere in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. So we operate nationwide. I've done a bid or looked at jobs up in like Washington State, all the way down to, I had a guy hit me up about Key West the other day.
Cool.
So it's just anywhere and everything. We have some stuff going into Mexico, obviously, because it falls into that Permian Basin, Delaware Basin area. Wyoming, things along those lines.
Sweet.
Yeah, nice. Super cool. Super cool whenever you can disperse out.
There's ever a use for this for like major mining operations? Like what's like a unique use that you've been like, man, a trencher would be really good for this? That's not like typical. Ooh. You know, because like you think of it as like putting in utility pipe or gas pipe or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then like I wonder what else the trencher could be really useful.
I've been hit up about gold mining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how it'd work, but he was trying to talk to me about the idea, and I kind of pitter-pattered, and I don't think the money doesn't make sense, I don't think, on that, because you're kind of hoping, and then the sifting through it and stuff like that, it didn't make sense. And I think he thought we did something a little bit different.
Yeah. Like AdCar mining almost.
Yes,
because like AdCar mine, you've seen AdCar mining?
Explain it, please.
Where it's like it looks like a small. I don't even know how. I'm gonna butcher this. Anybody that's into AdCar mining is gonna be like, "You're an idiot." But yeah, I mean, it looks like.
Please teach us.
Yeah, please teach us. It's like a really thin, or like short, like machine, but basically you add pieces to it as you drill into the mountain. So it's got like a front rotary head that just drills into like coal mining.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and then they'll put another car and they'll push it further, add another car, push it further.
Gotcha.
And they'll just take and go straight into the mountain, and it just conveys
all the material out.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
But it looks like you could almost look at it like a trencher, like just going straight into the mountain.
I don't know if we could. I don't know if there's a use for it. So we do milling, which milling is. I wish I could show you a picture of it.
Yeah,
I can show you later on my phone and maybe share it with you if you want to plug it in on your hat some way. But you can cut out like walls. So like if you're going, San Antonio's a good one that we've done some work on. Is they've done a lot of subdivisions and shopping divisions and things along those lines.
Oh yeah,
and they're having to cut a road into this just massive rock wall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so we've come in and cut that rock wall out.
Gotcha.
With our milling machines and trenchers. It's kind of a combination, depends on what the material is and everything like that, and what the.
Because like a typical milling machine would be like used for like asphalt or like rebuilding roads.
So yes,
similar to that, or
it is similar to that, not the same. So you know what our trenchers look like with the big boom out the front. So we take that boom out, and there's a big milling head that goes in there, and they're a big cylinder with the same teeth and everything on it.
Yeah,
and you can bring stuff to grade with it.
Gotcha.
So you can just, It's not
So
necessarily
it's
to
a lot
tear up.
wider probably.
About 8 to 10 foot wide.
So you just take like layers.
You just
off.
take layers of rock off, and you can take stuff down to grade. We do that with a lot of like subdivision work, some road work where stuff needs to come down to grade, and you just can't hammer it fast enough. It takes a lot of support with those things.
Sure it's
like
more
scrapers and whatnot.
accurate too, because like you use like an excavator or a hammer, and you're getting like chunks and pieces, right?
Yes.
You're not getting like a smooth milled surface.
Yes, and so the material that comes from that is also better for other uses that you might need.
You might be able to crush it a little finer and put it right back down in the same spot.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Use it for base.
So we've people get creative with that stuff, and that's not my wheelhouse,
right? Yeah.
But
I'll just talk about it. Tell people what we do.
But we've cut out ponds and stuff like that, and so it's super cool. Whenever the road side of it is, I don't think it's the same, but it's not the same. Yeah. They're just tearing up road that's already pre-existing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're just going back and milling like old asphalt or concrete or whatever. Yeah. So have you guys done any projects in like Canada or South America or anything?
So I got hit up about a project in Canada, but our parent company will not allow us to travel outside the United States.
Probably got pretty good legal and
it just gets legal and pay and wages, and it's just something to stay away from. And we're plenty busy. Yeah. We stay pretty busy. Now, would I like to eventually, if we can? Yeah, it'd be really cool to say, oh, yeah, we're going to Alberta or wherever.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know where it's needed up there. But honestly,
I mean, there's lots of gas pipelines up there, too. And it's all rock.
Yeah, I follow plenty of those pages where it's like, where's the pipeline going in? And it's Canada, Texas, North Dakota. And I'm like, I wish we'd get into Canada.
Right. Honestly, man, like getting a big old pipeline where it's just like, hey, I'm just going to trench this for you. And you guys just put the pipe in as fast as we trench it, and we'll meet you at the other end of the United States.
Yes,
that'd be an awesome job.
It would be the best in the world, and I hope I can secure it if anybody out there needs something.
Right. We've got a few people in the like natural gas and like oil and gas fields. Yeah. And they do a lot of that stuff, like just the gas pipelines, like the big ones. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Maybe if they need it, they'll reach out. That'd be cool.
It'd be very cool.
Yeah. I've just always wanted to see that, like, you know, the logistics on any project is tough, but like literally like because the trencher goes slow, you know, especially if it's going through rock, it's going to go slow.
Yes. But
obviously it's faster. It's way faster than what an excavator can do.
Yes.
And so it just slowly chips away, and then the guys behind it just start stacking it. And the person behind that just start backfilling, and, you know,
it's honestly amazing whenever I'll pull onto a job site and it's like, how does all this work? Like, how is this actually happening? Like, it's quite amazing. It's like the eighth wonder of the world. Every job site in America, just how everybody works together, and it becomes
fluid,
beautiful at the end of it. And you don't know there was a pipeline there other than the big right away. That's it.
So that's another thing too, man. Like when we start talking like industrial or like mining or like oil and gas, like the typical American will go, "Oh, it's so nasty," or it just doesn't look good. And like, you know, mining reclamation, it's more beautiful than what it was before. You know, like oil and gas right of ways typically are pretty well maintained and like gorgeous. Yes. Like they're not ugly by any means.
All it is it's a strip of land that just probably doesn't have any trees for a few years.
Yeah.
But in West Texas and coming like on 20,
it doesn't matter. It all looks dirt.
They're like, oh, I'll put a deer blind right there and have a shooting lane both ways for miles. And I'm like, yeah, you're a genius. You should all do that. It's great.
I do that on like my Oklahoma land.
Yeah.
That's where I set up my tree stand too, because I can see both directions.
Yeah, and it's plenty wide. It's probably 150 foot wide. And
it's awesome. No complaints on my end.
But yeah, the overall America feeling sometimes about it is not so great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're there to leave it better than they found it as best they could.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's better for the towns that everything goes through. Your hotels get busy, your restaurants get busy, it booms that economy a little bit and gives everybody a little bit more cash in their pocket. I think that's good.
So when we look at like trenching versus like other like conventional methods of like digging a trench with an excavator or something along the lines of that, obviously you see a lot of people just banging away at rock with like an excavator that has obviously teeth designed for it, but it takes so long and it's beating up the excavator. The operator doesn't feel good after a day that.
No, absolutely not.
For sure. Like what are some, like go over like the benefits and obviously like than the like downsides to using a trencher over like your traditional methods.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get into rock is our specialty. That's a big thing. Granted, we can cut dirt all day long every day, but we really money's made in rock. And so whenever you have an excavator that you have on a job, or a couple of excavators that you have on a job, just beating away at rock all day long, you have the wear and tear on that machine, the wear and tear on that bucket. I've had multiple cases where people were like, hey, we tore up a bucket on this. Like, we're not doing that again on a job in that area or whatever previous to. Sometimes the material isn't that great that comes out of there, that you reuse for padding or backfill and everything along those lines. And so a trencher can come in and consistently cut, depending on the material, thousands of feet a day, whatever it is. That is fairly solely granted what the material is and how everything is, and what the job site looks like in the right of way and things along those lines. But being able to come in and just cut, it's easier. You don't have your machines tied up trying to just break rock all day long. It's faster because you're going to get more footage a day with a trencher than you are an excavator. And it's probably safer because your guy's not jumping around in a cab and maybe going to break a hydraulic line or something like that. That's just, you're just wear and tear on a machine, period.
Yeah.
And then the safety aspects and everything that involves that. So our main thing is faster than excavator, cheaper than blasting. People like blasting.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Especially out in the East for some reason, like
it's cool to watch.
Tennessee and Kentucky and North Carolina, they love blasting out there.
They do. It's cool to watch. I watch it every time it comes across my LinkedIn feed.
But you still have to excavate it. You blast the path, and then you still have to go back and excavate it.
Yeah, so you still have to dig it.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and then there's a lot of places that you can't blast, like they've outlawed it to where it's like
noise complaints or shaking.
Noise complaints, shaking. It goes back to the fracking argument that has been, I guess, years long.
Yeah, debunked.
It's just, but everybody around it is just not as happy. And so we can come in and do it cheaper than that and then faster than excavating. And that's the real benefit of it, is to keep your job on time and under budget.
Honestly, it's so much smoother than like blasting either, because like you have to have the crew come in and drill those holes, pack those holes, blast it, and then still have to go back and excavate it and then backfill it. Like with a trencher, it lays like this nice little mound right next to the trench.
Just push it in.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is it's like it's already 6 foot from the trench, right? So you're already covered in OSHA or whatever the laws that you governed by, right? So it's just a nice little trench, good little walking path next to the trench. The material's offside. You can basically start putting material like utilities in right behind the trencher.
You could follow us for within a safe period. Yes, you could follow us with pipe or whatever.
So like your operator's not tied up on that job.
Nope.
You've got your pipe crew behind the trencher. You're saving all the money in the equipment, beating it up. So what's like the cost? Like, is it really cost efficient to bring in the trencher, or is that kind of where like, do people have an issue with the cost bringing in the trencher?
Each job's different.
Yeah.
Every job is its own beast, in my opinion.
For sure.
Depending on your production and what you want every day, if you're slow rolling a job and you can slow roll it out just because that's how your time frame worked out, then excavate it all day long if you can excavate it. That's fine. Whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But if you're on a time crunch and you need it done and you want the job done as fast as possible, I obviously am pro trencher because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But bring it in, get your trench out, get everybody else in line, and you can. It just makes the job go way easier, way faster. And if you come in faster, then you're saving money somewhere else, whether it's labor, it's rental equipment, or whether it's
pumping out more projects.
Yeah,
you can pump out more projects.
You can move to your next project and go on, and I'll be happy to move to your next project with you as well. If you
exactly right. Just knock out as many as you can.
Yeah, and so just that aspect of we save you time, and so that time saves you money.
Yeah,
and it just tenfolds over and over and over.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a project that's like too small where it's like, it's not worth a trencher? I mean, I know there is, right? But like, what is, I guess, the size of a project where it's like, man, like putting a trencher on this job for that length of feet, it probably just isn't worth your cost.
Man, It's
Because I'm sure it costs money to like mob it. Like
our mob costs are yes.
Yeah.
There's mob costs. Granted, we do all our own in-house
like transportation.
transportation and stuff. We have
Cool.
trucks and low boys and cozads and all that.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's a different world that
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not privy to fully. In my role with what I do, it's counterintuitive, if that's the right two words to put together, for me to say yes. If there's a job out there that I have a trencher on and we can make money on, then
the answer is no.
yes.
Yeah.
Does that always make sense for everybody? No.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's guys who just like having trenchers on the job just so they don't have to tie up an excavator or whatever, and they just like it that way, and that's what they do. And I'm okay with that. But it's really on your 2, 3, 4,000 foot jobs. Sometimes it's just easier you have the time in there, you have everything to just dig it out with an excavator, and that's it.
Yeah.
But if you're in rock, then it
doesn't matter how short of a line; it's just easier.
Yes, if it's rock, then you should bring in a trencher.
Yeah,
it's going to make your life easier. It's going to speed up your process by 10-folds. And so I guess it all goes back to material wise. If you're in dirt or something that you can dig with an excavator, go for it. Have all the fun you want with the excavator.
Yeah,
but absolutely. Once you get into some rock that actually would
slow you down,
yeah, then I don't think there's a job too small that you would need a trencher to come and be active
useful.
On. Yeah.
So you went 57 feet in
Florida
Key or Florida in Everglades.
Yep.
Pretty soft material, right? Roughly.
There's some rock in there.
Some rock.
Yes. But they were filling it in pretty quickly afterwards, so there wasn't too much cave in.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then it ended up being muck kind of, or a muddish water at the bottom, and you pull it off probably 6 to 10 foot of material at the top.
Gotcha.
And so you were just you'd pull it up, but it'd be a muck at the bottom, and then they pumped all that stuff into it. So.
Yeah, so like the weight of the slurry would kind of force all the water and stuff out of the hole.
Yes, pretty much is what I
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist by any means. Yeah. I just
not
know,
a geotech.
No, not at all. But I just can imagine that it was forcing it out, or there was a mixture.
It was more dense.
Yes.
Yeah. So 57 feet in the Everglades, softer material. If you were to get into like major rock, would that be an issue?
Man, I'm not an engineer either.
Like, do you think
it's worth looking at?
Yeah, definitely worth looking at.
There's always, how do I word this? My job is to say yes, we can do it.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are a lot smarter than me and who have put a lot of time and effort into knowing these machines inside and out.
Yeah.
To know what they're actually capable of, that can actually say yay or nay. I say yes. I think we can do a lot of things and we can figure it out because we've been in business for 50 years.
There's always a way.
There's a way to get a job done every single time. Maybe cost a little bit more money, maybe cost this, maybe do this, but there's a way to get a job done. And if there's anybody who's going to figure it out, it's probably us. We have 50 years under our belt, like I've said, and a lot of the guys in our building have been there for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
They've known a bunch and they've been around a lot. And then there's a guy in our facility that holds a patent on part of a trencher.
That's awesome.
So we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
like it's not like we're just shooting in the dark and like, yeah, we can do it. But
you said this was a family company, right?
So it was.
Or like, what's I know there's like a subsidiary or something.
Yeah. So we have a parent company now. We were bought out 25 years ago, which is fine. It's good. There's benefits to having a corporate structure and everything, and it we're backed by that money and everything like that, and so it works out really well for us. But down into it is, I've worked at a very, very corporate place before, and I don't get that feeling here.
Yeah.
The culture's great. Everything along that is great. A lot of the people, so H.L. Chapman is the name of the guy who started everything.
Yeah.
Some of his family members actually work within it now, and so it's really, there's a lot of that ownership of we take pride in the brand kind of aspect, and that portrays into everybody else takes pride in the brand. And so it's really a cool feeling because you have all the help of corporate, but you also have the mom and pop kind of shop feel.
That's awesome.
At the same time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and that makes sense. I think we talk to a lot of companies that are in that same boat where it's like, yeah, like the corporate structure is awesome, but some companies that come in and buy out want to change everything, and some companies that want to come in and buy out, they're just like, dude, we love the company where it's at. Keep rolling.
You're making money now. Just keep making money, and
exactly.
nobody's going to bother you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool because it's like still that family business.
Yeah,
but
I don't feel like I go to work for a corporate like I used to.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also dive into that. Like what are some of the bad cultural aspects of construction that, or in your previous companies, like what drove you out of those companies as an employee?
Micromanagement did a lot for me. I was not, how do I put this? I played college football, and as a college athlete, you're told to do a lot of things, and you just get them done, or you're not on a team anymore, and you don't have your scholarship and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was really good with doing what I was supposed to do every day and getting my job done and just trusting that everybody else would without anybody coming to me. Whereas some of my coworkers would be lacking here, that's not my job, not picking up slack where slack can be picked up. That's very easy slack. It's not like we're asking you to
do new
split
job
an atom or anything. It's just go a little bit above and beyond, have a little pride in what you do, and do your job.
Yeah.
And so where that aspect is of being able to recognize those areas and do it while others didn't, and then everybody gets in trouble for lack of there. And you could be busy all day long trying to get it, and you're still getting the same, not butt chewing, but you're getting the same speech as everybody else who.
Yeah. They're kind of putting everybody in the same boat, whereas like you've got your people that are like, obviously, is it off?
Yeah. Yes. Sucks.
What the crap?
This is the first time we've had the camera do this.
Yeah, because it's usually pumping here. So last time.
We're probably pretty close to the end anyway, but.
Force is tired of me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. Are we at an hour? What's that?
We're good.
We're good? All right, cool. What were we just talking about?
Culture. Where I was or whatever. Micromanaged.
Oh, yeah.
I hate being micromanaged.
Yeah, so like a lot of companies will put everybody on that same playing field where like the employees that are like there to excel and the employees that are there to just get the minimum 8 hours. Yeah, thriving. Yeah, thriving versus surviving, exactly. It's like that ambition to do more is not in everybody.
No.
But like your culture in your company and like how you operate, the standard, right, should drive everybody to be, ambitious.
100%.
And if some people in your organization are not as ambitious, that's like a cancer to those who are, because those guys that are ambitious, this is where I quit, was it, the construction field was like, why am I going above and beyond when nobody else gives a crap? And it's like, it feels like all my hard work is like going to nothing.
Yes, absolutely. And then I was in a situation where I knew I wasn't getting paid my worth.
Yeah.
And I had numbers to show it and everything. And so when my numbers were way better than everybody else or whatnot, it was sales. My numbers were better than everybody else, and I was doing way more. But in the back of my mind, I know this guy's taking home more every 2 weeks than I am. It's hard to get up and go to work every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's hard to love your job. It's hard to care about what you're doing. And it's hard not to go, what can I do over here? Or where else can I go that I'll actually be valued in the fact of I'm putting in the work. Everything's happening right. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not just me. Like, numbers don't lie.
Yep.
At the end of the day. So what's the
reason here?
Yeah. What's the reason here? Is it because I'm younger than everybody, or is it because you just think I'm here for the easy time and you just think you can get away with it for so long, and then it just is what it is.
Some companies just don't know, right? Like they've got people in leadership that are just bad at their position.
Yes.
And like I've seen it where like the owner of the company really doesn't know what's happening in the organization, but he leaves that up to like his number 2 guy to come and tell him. And that number 2 guy is just trying to make him happy.
Telephone at the day.
Yeah.
And it
just drives me nuts.
Yes.
Like a good leader, even if you're the CEO and you have lots to do, like you've got to go and see your people, talk to your people, get like firsthand knowledge of what's going on.
110%. Yeah, you can't. I've been around a lot of good leaders. I've been around a lot of bad leaders.
Yeah.
And the best ones that I've been around of, you see all the time. You can get a hold of at all times. And they're just, it's whatever. I mean, it's nothing for you to see them throughout the day or whatever. And it's
You're just walking by, hey, how's it going?
literally, that's
hey,
it.
how's it going?
That's it. Or even in coaching. Some of my favorite coaches have mother effed me up and down a wall.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
Yeah. It's part of the game.
Yeah, but I respect them a lot more because they did that.
Yep.
And singled me out on something that I needed to be singled out on,
Yeah.
and not brought me into a room and micromanage me with everybody else.
That brings up another point. It's like, it really doesn't matter if you get shredded by somebody as long as they still praise you when you do something right.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I think most employees won't be like, yeah, I need to be praised when I do something right.
No.
None of us give a crap like when at face value, but if a leader doesn't do that and say, hey, you did really good at this, then it's like in the back of their mind they're going, why am I not getting acknowledged for the hard work I'm putting in?
Yes, nobody. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody wants to be humble about it, but at the end of the day, you still want confirmation.
I don't need a party. I just need I
want confirmation.
That was great.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's
cool.
all I need. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. I sit down. There's about once a quarter. I'll sit in my boss's office and we'll kind of go over some stuff. And I'll go, "You good with everything?" He goes, "I'm good. You're doing great. Cool. Sounds good. I'm out of here." That's all I need to know for the next 3 months.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very cool. So
I love it.
Absolutely.
Man, is there anything else about the company you want to dive into? I know we kind of dove into your background, where you're at now, what you're doing, a little bit about what the company does.
I don't think so. We work everywhere. We're happy to do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody about anything trenching or milling wise, or help you find something that might be beneficial.
Yeah.
I'm an open book when it comes to that stuff. If I can help you, I'm happy to do it because it comes out tenfold. Karma is great.
Yeah, right.
And I truly believe in it. And if I can at least put you in the right direction or even help you out, then I think everybody wins in that situation.
Nice. I'll ask one more question before we dive off of here. But if you were to talk to somebody that's like on the fence of coming into the construction or the trades, and they're like in a completely different industry, what would you tell them?
It's a great question.
Obviously, it depends on what trade they're coming into, what they're leaving.
Absolutely. I think the trades and construction and blue collar gets a bad rap for attitude sometimes.
Yeah.
There are good people in this industry and good people in the world that want to help somebody who's never had a shot at it. Granted, it's not always going to be ice cream and rainbows and this, that, and that, and they're going to the good ones you want to be able to mentor you and stuff are going to tell you how it is and whatnot, but they want to do it for your good.
Yeah.
So find somebody like that can mentor you and be a good friend at the same time, and lean on that. But find that mentor, jump into it, just do it. There's a lot more good people in this industry than there's led on to believe.
Yeah.
I've learned that firsthand. I was really worried about it I went out into West Texas by myself a month and a half after getting my job and was knocking on doors trying to figure this out. And I had no clue about anything in the world. And a lot of people were like, hey, you should do this differently, or you should do this, or this is how you do that, and this is how you do that. And I was like, this is West Texas. Like, I did not expect it to be as nice and humble as a lot of these guys are. And I've had a lot of guys, and they'll just call me randomly on the week. What are you doing? How's your week? Are you out here? Let's go have dinner, do this.
Yeah.
I've had people invite me over to their house.
That's awesome.
Have their dinner with their wife and kids. I mean, it's just a lot of that stuff there's a lot of good people in this industry. Find somebody to mentor you and to take you under their wing and show you the ways and build relationships with and everything like that. And I think it takes you way farther than you'll ever know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good advice. Yeah. Have thick skin and be willing to learn.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And if you're looking for a change,
you're not going to do everything right, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. Well, man, I think we'll probably cut it there.
That's fine.
And, we'll probably have you on again sometime
I'll take
down the road.
Yeah.
But
Thanks whenever you want me to. I'm happy to do it. If I can make it happen, we'll start planning early next time and maybe cut out all the middle stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was a good talk. I think we got a lot accomplished, and glad you could come out. And
glad to do it.
Yeah, thanks for making the drive out here.
It's not a problem, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.